Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to discuss about respiration. So first we have to know what is actually respiration. Respiration should not be confused with breathing. Breathing is just a way in which the gaseous exchange takes place, and respiration is actually the process in which the carbon hydrogen bonds of the food molecules are broken down by oxidation reduction process. So carbon dioxide and water, as a result of this break, is produced. In this burning process, oxygen is used to break this carbon hydrogen bonds. So it is actually energy yielding process, and it is also known as the cellular respiration because it takes place inside the cell. So it is also named as the cellular respiration. Now what is actually that food molecule? The food molecule that is in the form of the glucose molecule. That glucose molecule, that formula of the glucose molecule is C6H12O6. So in the presence of oxygen, the complete oxidation of the food molecule takes place, and as a result the carbon hydrogen bonds are broken down and it is converted into the carbon dioxide, water, and energy is also released in this process, and that the whole process takes place inside the cell. Now we are coming towards that what is the respiration method through which it takes place. Actually there are two methods through which the cellular respiration takes place. One with the oxygen, with the presence of oxygen, and the other one is without oxygen or without the presence of oxygen. So the process which takes place in the presence of oxygen, that is called as aerobic respiration, and the process which takes place in the absence of oxygen, that is called as the anaerobic respiration. So we are going to discuss about the differences between the aerobic and anaerobic respiration in detail. So the first property of aerobic respiration is that yes, there is the presence of oxygen, that for the complete breakdown of the glucose molecule, oxygen should be present. On the other hand, in the anaerobic respiration, there is no need of oxygen, so oxygen is not present there for the breakdown of the glucose molecule. Second property of aerobic respiration is this, that here complete oxidation of glucose molecule takes place, and as a result of this breakdown of the glucose molecule, 36 ATPs generated as a net profit. On the other hand, in anaerobic respiration, here incomplete oxidation of glucose molecule takes place. Why incomplete oxidation of glucose molecule? Because there is no oxygen, so the complete glucose molecule is not broken down completely into the carbon dioxide and water. Instead of it will be broken down in some different substances, which I'll discuss later on. And because of this breakdown, now 2 ATPs are generated as a net profit. So if we compare, in aerobic respiration there are 36 ATPs generated. On the other hand, in anaerobic, only 2 ATPs are generated as a net profit. Third property of aerobic respiration is this, that it takes us in two phases. So in the first phase, a molecule of a glucose is broken down into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. Similarly, in anaerobic respiration, a molecule of glucose is broken down into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. While in the second phase of aerobic respiration, the pyruvic acid is completely oxidized to produce carbon dioxide, water, that is produced as a final product. On the other hand, in anaerobic respiration, the pyruvic acid is incompletely oxidized to produce either lactic acid or ethanol and carbon dioxide as final products. In aerobic respiration, the glycolysis takes place in cytoplasm, and Krebs cycle and electron transport chain that takes place in mitochondria. Now what is actually glycolysis, what is a Krebs cycle, and what is electron transport chain? So these are the actually the mechanism of respiration, which we'll discuss in our next topic about the complete mechanism of respiration. Actually, glycolysis that takes place inside the first phase of the aerobic respiration, in which the glucose molecule is broken down into pyruvic acid, while the second phase the pyruvic acid is completely broken down into carbon dioxide and water. That is actually done in Krebs cycle and electron transport chain, which takes place in mitochondria of a cell. While in anaerobic respiration, it actually takes place only in the cytoplasm. It doesn't happen in mitochondria. Now, aerobic respiration is, if we discuss about the source, that how much source of energy have to be produced. So it is a very important and major source of energy for most of the organisms, while in anaerobic respiration, that is the source of energy for aerobic organisms. In short supply for oxygen, it is also a source of many products like ethanol, cheese, etc. have been produced with the help of this. Now, the overall reaction of aerobic respiration, in which the glucose molecule in the presence of oxygen is broken down into carbon dioxide and water plus energy. The anaerobic respiration is divided into alcoholic and lactic acid fermentation. Here is the difference between the aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. This is all about that. Now, coming to the alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid fermentation. So alcoholic fermentation, that is a type of anaerobic respiration, and it occurs in bacteria and yeast, etc. Pyruvic acid is broken down into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide, and if we have to show it through the you can say equation, in this equation pyruvic acid is broken down into ethyl alcohol plus carbon dioxide. While in lactic acid fermentation, it is a type of anaerobic respiration. It occurs in bacteria which are present in the milk, in the skeletal muscles of humans and other animals, when they are in the extreme physical activities, when we are doing the extreme like if we are going to do the swimming, if we are going to do the hard exercises, if we are running. So in that cases, actually the skeletal muscles are going to do the anaerobic respiration. Pyruvic acid is then broken down into lactic acid and carbon dioxide. So equation wise, if we see, then pyruvic acid into lactic acid and carbon dioxide. So here is a diagram which is showing you the lactic acid fermentation and alcoholic fermentation. Now we have already discussed about photosynthesis, and now this is all about respiration. So what is the difference between photosynthesis and respiration overall, if we have to discuss about that? So photosynthesis is actually an anabolic process, while respiration is the catabolic process. In photosynthesis, there is the investment of light energy to store it in the form of bond energy, while in respiration, the bond energy is transformed into the chemical energy of ATPs. Photosynthesis takes place in the photosynthetic bacteria, all algae and all plants. On the other hand, respiration takes place in all of the organisms. Photosynthesis also takes place in the chloroplast of the cell, like where in the cell. So that takes place in the chloroplast of the cells. Respiration takes place in the cytoplasm and mitochondria of a cell. Photosynthesis takes place during the daytime because for the photosynthesis, light is necessary. So it takes place in the presence of light. While for the respiration, there is no such need. So it takes place all the time, 24/7. Now coming to the assignment question answers. Here first question is about define respiration. Then there are the questions which are related towards the differentiation differentiate between the aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration, alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid fermentation, photosynthesis and